Are you?
Hello, everyone. We are back again with the Hunger Games Reap Along Book Club. We are discussing the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes today. Ooh, Brittany has the movie cover edition.
Oh, look at
I love
you.
that
I always
one.
have to be different. This
Yeah,
entire time, I've had a different edition of the book than you guys.
I was gonna have my new paperback, but completely forgot to grab it. So this is all we got
Mine's
today.
the annotated one. Like, I read this when I annotated it. That's why I'm
Yes.
holding it. Otherwise, I would have the original one that's up there with my
Yeah.
President Snow Funko Pop.
Oh, yes. I have that one too. So fun. So this is interesting because I think Brittany's read it 3 times, right?
Yes.
I've read it 2 times, and then Kit has read it 1 time. This was the first time. So we've all had different journeys with this book, and that's one of the things that I wanted to open it up. I'm really curious because Kit has never read it. How did you feel overall?
Y'all that hate ballad, why? I think it's really good. Like
Thank you.
I loved it. I
Thank
was
Not
like,
Peyton saying thank you as if she wrote it.
she's saying thank you on the behalf of Suzanne Collins.
I am, because where is she? You know, like I'll be her publicist or something.
So funny.
Yeah, no, because I saw some people be like, oh, I'm so glad, because when they talk about Sunrise on the Reaping, they were like, I'm so glad this is much better than Ballad. And I was like, did we read the same book? Like, Ballad is so, it's just such a, like, we already talked about how much Suzanne Collins plans out her books, but with this book specifically, insane.
Yeah.
Word choice, so good. And she doesn't do like the whole like, guys, he just had a sad life and that's why he's evil. She's like, no. Don't excuse his actions. Everyone's had a sad life. So I thank her for that.
And yet
Yeah.
people still, like, read this book and empathize with Snow. I'm like,
They do. They do. It irks me. It irks me.
It irks me so much too.
And that's another thing I wanted to touch on is, I mean, it was a war when this book was announced, you know, like everybody online was like, we don't want a redemption arc. Like, this is so gross, this nasty white man, we don't want a redemption arc. I'm like, bitch, that's not what we're doing here. Like, I've always said that. I feel like all 3 of us always said that. And the community, the book readers have finally, I don't know, the movie really saved it for people for some reason, which I think is crazy because they have like the same points being hit on. So, what do you have to say? You look like you have a point.
I will say I do think the movie goes a little too easy on Snow compared to the book. And I think that's kind of why the movie's kind of more digestible, quote unquote, than the book, I guess you could say. But they're missing out if you haven't read the book, because Snow's insane, man. He has that privilege, man.
just hearing his, like, being able to read his thoughts is so wild. And I know it, like, would be way too hard to put it in the movie because then it would just be like constant narration, which would like
Joe Goldberg.
Yeah, like, but like you're really missing his inner monologue in the movie. I think that kind of like explains. Like, I think a lot of people misinterpret like what he's thinking or like what he's feeling in a moment in the movie if they haven't read the book, because they don't know what he's actually thinking. Like, he's I feel like in the book it's a lot clearer how territorial and like obsessive he is over Lucy Gray.
It's such a good point. Like,
I feel like it did translate.
Yeah. Well, it's like they never fully could do it unless, like you said, they did like a Joe Goldberg monologue, which, by the way, I was triggered reading this because it's the same narrator who does the Joe Goldberg books. And something was like clicking in my head, like, why is this Joe Goldberg, which, by the way, very similar personalities, like very controlling, like, literally, can we bring the connections together? Because as soon as like the woman does not do what he wants, like, that bitch is gonna die, like, he's going to kill them. Like, is that not Snow?
They would be
so similar.
They would be like that. They would be best friends.
I know. Like they'd either be best friends or just kill each other because like they're so similar.
Yeah.
But I find that so funny that they're like both the narrators and they're so similar. But yeah, like he's so evil even from the beginning of the book when obviously he hasn't had his full villain era happen to him yet, but he's always had some dark and twisted thoughts. They just got worse and worse as we continued on because Dr. Gale, that bitch. That bitch. Literally evil, but Viola Davis, I just rewatched the movie last night. She's amazing.
She's so good.
And she just like played that evil character so well.
Mm-hmm.
So we have established that this book is like super different than the other ones, like tonally and everything. How do you feel compared to the other books? Like, where's your ranking? Or I don't know, do you have a feeling towards it? Is it like not your favorite compared to the others or up there at the same level? Come on, guys.
I have to think about it because I kind of see all of them on like a similar thing because I just love them all. I just think they're all interesting, and I think that's why I like Ballad a lot. I think I said this in on I have like I use Storygraph and Fable. I just post my reviews on there. And I think I said similar to Mockingjay, I think this is a book where a lot of people are going to dislike it because of the format, but I think that's what helps the book like kind of stand out on its own. Cuz I know that some people get like quote like annoyed that like the Hunger Games, the first two follow like a quote unquote formula, but when it gets to Mockingjay, they like completely like backtrack and they're like, actually, let's go back to the games. And it's like, Suzanne gave you guys what you wanted. So, and I also just think Suzanne will just throw in like a random line of lore and then it will completely change your perspective on the whole series.
It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good point. And this is just like so much history that we never like had. Like, how did the games even form?
And like the hand that Snow played so early on to like form
exactly
the games, you know, and like how different the games are. Because I remember it was so shocking reading it for the first time, and like because I never really thought about it before, but like the way that they treat the tributes and like the way that they just like treat the games in general is so different to how we know it. Because like they kind of treat the tributes a bit more respectfully, like they get to live in luxury for a bit before they, you know, go and have to murder each other. Whereas in this book, like they're literally in the zoo and like get transported in not a nice train, but you know, in the cattle part of the train.
Mm-hmm.
So like I remember that being so shocking the first time I read it.
But it makes sense. Like everything that she adds to the puzzle, like it all makes so much sense. And it is chilling to see. It's chilling to see how, like, if he had not been so power hungry and like determined to prove himself to these rich people, the games could have really died out. Like it was so close to being gone.
Mm-hmm.
And his ideas in combination with Dr. Gale, like, brought it on for like 65 more years. Like it's disgusting. And while we said he wasn't purely evil at the beginning, like he was still dark and twisty. So, and he just got worse and worse and worse. And I don't know, it's haunting.
No, yeah. And now that while you were talking, Peyton, I was like, this is really interesting because it gives a very good like kind of look like to compare Snow and Gale because because like he was in a war and like he like was like a child during that violence and then he still decided to continue that violence towards other people that he felt like deserved it, quote unquote. And Gale in a way does a similar thing where he's like, hey, these people treated us like shit, so let's kill them. And it's like, okay, dude, like really. And like, obviously, like both of them teenagers, like, you know, and they're both being manipulated in a way with Snow with Dr. Gall and Gale with President Coin. So like, that's kind of an interesting thing. And another reason to hate Gale.
So add it to the ever evolving list.
I'm curious, do y'all think if Gale was a part of the conversation on if they should have had the Capitol Games, do you think he would have said yes?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like the revenge was definitely a thing in his mind. But
yeah, and that's the interesting thing also, because since we're going back to that, and we'll talk about this more probably in Sunrise on the Reaping, but I think Beatty and Gale's perspective on that vote would be completely different from each other. And I think some parts of it for Beatty is completely different than Gale's. Anyway, we'll talk about that in the next live show.
Well, BT did say no, I think.
Yeah, no.
Memory, so
no, he did. I'm just saying that because BT was a part of creating the bomb with Gale. So I think he has more regrets and realization that I think in the movie or even in the book, he says, like, we can't keep on doing this. This has been going on for so long. And I think some parts of Sunrise also contribute to that. But we're not there yet.
We're not there yet. It's hard not to discuss. Okay. I feel like we're all going to agree on this, but do we think we needed this story? Are you glad we got this story? Because some people still don't feel like we need this.
Who needs them?
Who needs them?
They don't get it. They don't get it like we get it.
Yeah.
I know, it adds so many layers, and even just introducing the Covey people, like now we know how interconnected all of these things are. So it's really cool. And I feel like maybe people would have more of an appreciation if like this came first and then Sunrise on the Reaping and then the other books, because then they wouldn't maybe think it was like just for the fans or whatever. But I also don't think it would have hit the same. So
yeah, what's wild is that like in my vlog for Sunrise on the Reaping, I like mentioned fan service, and like I think when you're reading a book like either Ballad or Sunrise, where like you're getting all this new information for a series that you know, like there's an adjustment period of like being shocked by this new information, and then eventually you get used to it, because like at the beginning I was like, this feels like a lot, because it was like fan service one after the other. And then like at the end of the book I was like, actually no, I take it all back, like it's fine. But I've been getting a lot of comments of people being like, it's actually not fan service, like it's, you know, it makes sense.
Final piece.
Yeah, not to keep commenting back, like I get it, I know, ignore early Brittany in the vlog, she doesn't get it.
She doesn't get it.
Crazy though, because
like I've learned
this was bad with the fan service,
which is shocking, because I would say like
it was
cameos and callbacks is so much more in Sunrise.
Oh yeah, and I mean we'll talk about it with Sunrise, but I think if you're saying fan service in Sunrise is fan service, what do you think Marvel cameos are like? Like, those don't make any freaking sense and don't add anything to the story compared to Sunrise, where, and then also same with Ballad. Like, I think it's also really interesting because I think I texted you guys when I was listening to it, when they mention the Heavensbee name and then also the character, I was like, okay, here's a little piece of information about Heavensbee that we know now. So, and also for you guys, like that was the only bit of information we had on Heavensbee for years. So that's interesting that's not really fans. It's giving us more depth to the world and what that family has or doesn't have. Yeah. So
yeah, I also think it's dumb for people to think that we wouldn't get any mentions of like callbacks to the original trilogy, because like it's all set in the same world. Like what, like you know,
things connect naturally, especially in a war, a revolution. Come on.
Yeah. Especially when the guy that like made it is like literally still in power because he just keeps on poisoning people.
I know. Oh my god. Okay, next thing. I think something interesting that we have realized with the new book too. I'm trying not to talk about it, but all of our District 12 victors, other than PETA, were not meant to be reaped. Like Lucy Gray was rigged by Mayfly, and then Katniss volunteered, and then I won't spoil what happened in Sunrise on the Reaping, but it was not what we thought it was. So I think it's cool how the people that weren't even really supposed to be part of this, like, were the ones that made like the biggest hit on the world and threatened the Capitol the most. It's like, because what are y'all doing? Like, they are reminding you, like, this is not supposed to be happening. So I just wanted to mention that. Okay.
Sorry, I just remembered something about catching fire that relates to Sunrise, and I was like, oh my god, wait a minute.
There's so many things, so many interesting things.
We'll talk about that later. We have to focus on
it's
Snow.
No. So what's really interesting about Snow is we see him at the beginning of this book. He was genuinely affected by the war. Him and Tigress, like, they saw someone try to eat someone. There was cannibalism. Like, people were going hungry and they still don't have money. So this adds a whole extra layer to him, because not only did he like have all this power later on, but he knew what it was to not have it at all, and he knew what it was to see people starve, and he's still capable of being this disgusting person who just lets people suffer. And I think that that's probably one of the most chilling things about this book. And once again, how is this a redemption arc when we're painting that picture? Like, yeah.
I'm sorry. If you read this book and you're like, Cornelius Snow, I'm sorry, you need to see a psychiatrist or a therapist or something, because I think something's wrong with you. Because like, you, like, it's kind of like, I'm trying to think of like a comparison, but like, he's like, I'm not like other guys. I treat a woman right, and then he does everything he does to Lucy Gray. And I've watched some interviews with the actors, and they're like, yeah, they both like kind of use each other in a way, because the only way they're gonna survive is with each other. But like, do you all think, like, at least Lucy, because I have a thoughts about Snow. Do you think that she actually cared about Snow? What are your thoughts on that?
That's a good question. I think she did. I don't think nearly the way that he felt, you know? Like, she's clearly had relationships and had feelings for people before. But I do think it's a good point that she had to use him in her own way. But why would she not? You know, like, she's about to die because of the system that his people put in place. So I don't feel like anyone should judge her for that. But, I mean, they were going to run away together. I feel like she had to have some sort of feelings toward him.
Do you know what's interesting? And I would love for you guys to weigh in on this. I made my parents watch the movie.
Okay.
And I was walking around with my mom a couple days later, and she didn't say this to me initially after watching the movie, so imagine my shock when she was like, I don't like Lucy Gray. And I was like, why? I'm like,
What?
What do you mean? And she was like, I don't know. There's something evil there. There's something wrong there. I don't like her. And I'm like, tell me how. Tell me how this girl is evil. Tell me what's wrong with her. And she couldn't come up with like a supporting like argument. I was like, there's something about her. And I'm like, do you just not like the actress maybe? Like, is there something like... She's like, yeah, I don't think I like her either. And I'm like...
Miss Talented Rachel Ziegler?
I know. And I was like, tell me what's evil about this girl. Because like, I don't get it. I'm like, did we just sit there and watch the same movie?
That's crazy.
I don't mean to call my mom out.
Did she mean to say President Snow?
I know.
Instead of Lucy? Like, cause, and that's also kind of interesting. Like, cause like I'm like, that's how like Snow wants to portray her as that kind of way.
Exactly.
Especially in like it's just, but
yeah,
I love Lucy. I love Lucy Gray. I think she's great. I think the Covey are cool, kind of like what Peyton was talking about earlier, like expanding the lore and kind of District 12, and that there was this traveling band of people playing music and stuff like that. And then Capitol was like, yeah, no, we're done with that. So we're going to kill all the adults and then just try to like get away. But it's still found a way. I'm sorry, Brittany. That's insane. I'm sorry.
I don't know if maybe it was for like I don't know if it's because she's lacking context from the book and just like maybe there was a misunderstanding along the way, but I don't know if it was because maybe like the snake scene during the reaping, or like she put the snake in whatever, the mayor's daughter.
That bitch put her name in there.
I know. So that's why
I'm
like, did my mom misunderstand that? Like, did she not realize that there was like a rigging? Did she think she was just randomly like putting a snake down a girl's pants, like, or down her shirt or whatever? I'm like, was there a misunderstanding?
Mayfly continued to be annoying.
Is it Mayfly or Mayfair?
Mayfair, sorry.
You said Mayfly twice.
Okay, whatever that bitch's name is, because she sucks. Like, she continues to suck.
I just don't know if there was a miscommunication, if she just like didn't catch something. I don't know, because like the only other thing I can think of that Lucy Gray did that could be like bad was like poisoning people in the arena, but like bitch gotta live, you know, like you can't fault people for what they do in the arena. Like I genuinely I don't know where my mom was coming from. Like I'm so confused. Like I don't know what she was on.
Yes, I misspoke. It is Mayfair.
Yeah.
Sorry. I just got jump scared by Josh Hutcherson's face. I was like,
he has a great face.
Excellent profile picture.
I love it.
I felt so bad. Okay, this is kind of off topic, but on topic. My one friend and I were on a call, and she's a big FNAF fan, like Five Nights at Freddy's. And she was like, oh my God, the trailer came out. And I said, is Josh Hutcherson in the trailer? And she's like, yes. And I'm like, okay, then I have to watch it.
I didn't watch it yet.
He's literally in 2 shots, and that's it. Anyway, we were talking about, but I also think the movie doesn't do a good job explaining or like making it clear about like the quote unquote rigging of Lucy Gray's like.
That's why I'm wondering if there was like she just didn't understand. I need to talk to her more.
Yeah,
I don't need to interview her. Get to the bottom of this.
I was like, tell me exactly how she is evil, and she couldn't do it. And I'm like, then where are you getting this from? We
need to like dig into our moms and their opinions on the Hunger Games.
Because
our moms love Gale. So let's already, but they just like Liam Hemsworth. So
at least my mom hates Gale. Okay.
Okay. That's but we can interrogate her on her hatred of Lucy Gray.
Yeah. But you know what? My mom also, like I said, only watched the movie, and even she came out of that, and the first thing she said was, "Wow, he really was evil this entire time, wasn't he?" So got to give her props for that. She did empathize with him, but apparently she thinks Lucy Gray is evil. So there's that.
Okay. Well, I have a point to make in regards to Lucy Gray, because maybe she feels like she's like manipulative, which in a way she is, because Suzanne said her idea for this tribute was to make her games to be, she brought performance into it, so she's really good at working a crowd and, you know, doing whatever she needs to do to get her goal. So like maybe she's manipulative in her own way, but like what are these situations? I know she's not evil at all.
I mean, because then you could say Peeta's evil because he also knows how to work the crowd. So
I know they both are that person. Hers obviously she can sing, so she can really do something.
I feel like Kit is like in a classroom being like, "Can I speak? Hello."
Oh no, my friends make fun of me constantly. I'll put my hand up and they're like, you're not in a classroom. Just interrupt.
Because you're just like,
let us know.
I was just gonna make a joke and be like, the difference between Lucy Gray and PETA is that PETA is a man and she is a girl.
You know what? You're so right. Oh my god.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, you
misogyny.
So right. It is misogyny. Oh my god.
Point.
I gotta have a conversation with my mother.
She has internalized misogyny.
Sorry, Mama. I don't mean to put you on blast here.
Maybe like the last scene too between her and Snow, like I feel like some would get confused on what went down there if they only watched the movie, because I feel like there's a lot of internal thoughts from him of he just freaking out, and she left that snake to bite him, and like maybe that was taken badly, but she clearly was putting pieces together. She was the like missing link or whatever. Like she could do something to him, and that was not gonna work with him. Like she was that one piece in front of him to get his old life back, and he clearly chose power over her. So, which is interesting because I don't think he loves her in any type of way. I don't think he's capable of that. But this is like his version of love story and how it took his control away. He likes to be in control of everything. So this is the only time he's been out of control because he experienced what is love for him. So he decides at the end of the book that he hated how much like he was losing control because he had feelings for this girl. So he purposely decides he wants to marry someone he hates, so he never has to go through that again. So I think that is literally so crazy, and I feel bad for whoever that girl ended up being, because what?
I just want to know, who was his wife? Who were his children? Because all we see and all we know is that he has a granddaughter.
Yeah.
And I'm like, where's the rest of your family, my dude? Like, did you kill them all? Are they dead?
See,
did
I
he
know.
hate you so much that they left? Like, what's going on?
I feel like he poisoned his wife or something.
Probably.
Because if you already hated her, like, come on.
Like, I don't need a book about it, Suzanne, but I need some answers. That's for sure.
No, we just need to sit her down and just be like, okay, explain to us this, and this. And that's it. It's just, we don't need a book, because Lucy Gray says, she has a line that she's like, I'll only sing a song if I need to, or something like that. And I feel like, and I think that's a really good, because the people are going to be like, Suzanne Collins is coming out here writing books because she needs the money. Y'all, each book has at least something to say. Like, I think with most prequel stuff, like, they don't really have a lot to say. I'm trying to think of the example for a book, but I can only think of movies. Like, I'm trying to think. Like, for example, I hate to bring Star Wars into this, but like Rogue One, that prequel is really good because that, like, it brings a lot of the themes of war and corruption, stuff like that. The Han Solo movie, we didn't need that.
Probably
that's
not.
one. Yeah, that's like whatever. I don't know what other, like.
I always forget about that movie. So
which one?
Han Solo. So
exactly.
Like, it's forgettable.
I've never seen any of them, so
that's crazy.
Okay, Brittany.
I'm just like smiling and nodding. I'm like smiling and nodding, like I know what you guys are talking about. I'm like, you see those ones.
I just couldn't think of anything to like compare the kind of like aspect of prequels that are like having something to say, which anyway, I don't know where I was going after that.
No, I feel like there's probably a lot of examples that are like escaping us right now, because there are a lot of cash like grabs out there. And I loved that Lucy Gray said that line, because I feel like that's what Suzanne does, you know? She got something to say, she's gonna put it and figure out how to implement it into this world. So
do you guys think that she's ever gonna write more books outside of the Hunger Games? Because obviously she has like the books from before the Hunger Games. But do we think she's ever just gonna like write something new?
What did we say that she should write? Because whatever we said she should write, I think she should write. I forget what live show it was where we were like, she should write an adult.
Was it Thriller? I think
yeah.
so.
Oh, yeah.
She should. Yeah, she needs. Suzanne Collins, if you're listening right now, you need to write an adult thriller. Please.
I do want an adult book of some sort. I feel like she could really do something.
She could, especially like I think like a lot of the suspense in Ballad is really good in the build up to it, and I think that could work really well in a thriller, especially an adult thriller.
She could do some crazy twists. I could feel.
You know what? She could also do a really good body horror, because I was feeling that while reading this book, which, by the way, screw the movies for cutting out all the mutt stuff, like all the mutations and stuff. That is so interesting. And I've heard people complain about, they're like, why do we have the monkeys and the mutts? No. It's interesting.
And either in this book, like Dr. Gale, like created all of them. So I find it fascinating as well.
Especially when that girl's turning into a snake, man. Insane.
Yeah.
Okay, but she was such a bitch. Clemencia trying to steal his assignment. That was like karma on the highest level. What happened to her?
But okay, question. Because I know that she, in the book, survives. We obviously know where. But doesn't she die in the movie?
I don't know if it's.
Or do we never see her again?
I think we never see or hear about her again. They just like dropped that thread. But then like they made the whole point about the other dude who died, and I like watching the movie, I'm like, I don't even remember who this kid is.
I know.
Like, got injured during the bombings. I'm like, I would be way more interested if maybe they even did kill Clemencia in the movie, just to like bring that in instead of this random dude that I couldn't even put a face to the name.
How they didn't want to have her turn into a snake. Sorry, continue.
How they did it in the movie, I'm like, I read this book weeks ago, so it's fading already. But I watched the movie last night, and I love the scene with Reaper. Reaper's so awesome. Want to point him out. But he was yelling at the cameras much in like a Katniss way, like, are you gonna like get me now, or like you gonna, I forgot what he said, but he was yelling at the camera, and then that's when Dr. Gale was like, so this student died, can you believe the rebels are so terrible? I'm like, that was such like perfect timing for her. She was waiting for a moment to add that in and interrupt what was going on. And you can see why this like Hunger Games got deleted. Like nobody's ever talking about this because these tributes were not having it. So,
in the movie, what the fuck did they do? Because like it starts off with a bloodbath. It ain't like that in the book.
It's not. I wanted to point that out. They upped it so much, and I get it from like a movie perspective. Like you want that action, but I do think
very capital coded, needing the entertainment. Like I do get it, but like I also like side eye, you know.
No, I agree, because like Reaper was the first one to try to like kill Lucy Gray right at the cornucopia area, and I don't think he did that in the book. So
yeah, isn't it like towards, I forget how many people are left, but literally like for days they're just sitting around with each other, just chilling.
Yeah, because they got barely any food. You know, they're exhausted, they're sick. And I guess that's where Snow's getting the ideas in his head. Like, how are we expecting these people to perform if they literally probably are so exhausted from like starvation, hunger, thirst? Like, what the heck?
I do wish that was shown in the movie more. I feel like the actual game portion and everything that Snow had to do with the games was very much so brushed over in the film. Like, very much so. Like, I feel like the only thing they really talked about was, like, him writing that essay with Clemencia, with her. Like, that was, like, the only nod. And then it was just kind of, like, not mentioned again, like, the influence that he had on these games. Like, I truly feel like if you just watch the movie, you are missing out on, like, the whole point of the story. Which is so tragic that they just like it's still a good movie, but they just like only with the background knowledge of the book, I think, you know?
Yeah, I think I didn't, because I I enjoy the nostalgia of the movies, and I just think they miss the point a lot of the time because they can't have that. I will say I do think it would be interesting if they did do narration with Snow, but did it in a way of like American Psycho. Have you guys seen that?
Yeah, I love that.
Okay. Okay, yeah. So the guy's like evil. He's a murderer, but like he talks in such a weird way of doing his like morning routine and all this stuff, and like the way that he narrates is so interesting because it's so manipulative and you don't know what's real or not. And I think similar to Snow that could have worked, but I agree. I think they could have done that, but then again, The Hunger Games is such a franchise that I feel like if they did anything kind of different, people wouldn't like it. Like, for example, people didn't like this book when it was coming out.
It took a long time for this to like get accepted.
Yeah. The only other like comparison I can think of for like a narration thing is Dexter. I don't know if you guys have seen that.
Yeah.
My mom loves it. Good. Like his like commentary on like what he's doing and like his thought process behind things is so interesting that like that show would be completely different if it didn't have his narration to it. So, but I do understand like it would feel tonally so different from the other movies if they did that, because you don't have Katniss narrating in the Hunger Games movies.
Yeah.
Someone said a 2-part movie was needed. I don't know if I would go that far, but like,
isn't there like a 5-hour cut out there that people
a 4-hour cut and people really want it?
I think I'd prefer the 5-hour cut just all in one, because I still think part 1 and part 2 of Mockingjay, while I love them, like you have to watch those together. It just don't hit unless they're together.
And then also in addition, I think when we were talking about Mockingjay or like 2 parts, Brittany brought up a really good point. Where yes, you did.
I said like, something good.
Brittany, you say something good every live stream. What are you talking about?
I've got a big brain.
You do have a big brain. You said something that like really I liked, because when I was kind of ranting about Mockingjay being in 2 parts, and you were like, but then where would the movie end?
Right. Okay.
Like where would it like start and stuff like that? And I was like, oh, she brings up a really good point, because like, so that's the same thing with like, I feel like the thing with Mockingjay part 1, it was just that they didn't focus on like the very important character stuff, like Katniss's mental health and all that kind of stuff. And that's why I think a lot of people don't like that movie being split into 2 parts. And I think that's a similar thing if Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes was also split up into 2 parts. I think it just needed to be a little bit longer and a little more like focused. And it's also hard because it's being directed by the same guy for the last like 4 movies. And I think that's also why they can't really do anything to change the direction of the franchise. So
it's funny that you say that you want to be longer, because it just reminded me that while I was watching the movie with my parents, my dad was getting so frustrated that it was so long. Like he, in his words, the way he said it is he was getting very squirrely because it was so long.
Squirrels after sunrise on the reaping.
I didn't even put that together. But like he was like not having it. Like he was getting a little cranky, and he was like, when is this movie over? And I'm like, Dad, we still have like half an hour to go. And he's like, what do you mean?
Yeah, I can totally understand that, especially with the weird pacing of it. I think someone mentioned here where like they added the titles of the different parts, which I don't understand why they did that in the movie. Book makes sense because it makes sense for a book.
It did. Like, it did feel weird in the movie, and I forgot that they did that until I rewatched it. It does feel a little odd.
Yeah, because especially with like the pacing of the movie, like I know people have problems with it. I kind of don't care, because I'm like, oh, this is interesting that we're getting a lot more after the games and the impact of that and seeing these characters. But like, it's also, I feel like because it's been so game heavy, and then the like big part of it is like nothing. I think like not nothing, but like no games within it. I think that's like a hard whiplash to like deal with. I think makes it longer. So
that's an interesting point. It's like, it's interesting to look in our brains and be like, why are we wanting to be in the games so much? Like, are we enjoying this fight to the death like the weirdos that created this? Obviously, we're entertained, but it's not real. So it's different.
That's what Peter said.
Very, very different. Okay, we have not talked about this character at all. Sejanus.
My baby!
My favorite. He's the boy that all these stupid ass snow girlies should be caring about.
I know! Oh my gosh.
But it's just because he doesn't look like Tom Blythe. Like, let's be real.
I think he's really cute as well, just in a different way, you know?
I think a lot of people, I feel like there are the people who empathize with him in the book, too, because I came across somebody who did. But, like, in the movie, I feel like it's the same as with Gale. Like, they see Liam Hemsworth, and so they automatically like him. So I feel like they saw Tom Blythe, was attracted to Tom Blythe, and they couldn't separate it.
This just hurts me.
Like, I can admit, I'm like, Tom Blythe, you look good with that curly, swoopy little hair. I'm like, you look adorable. I don't like snow, but like, you're a little cutie patootie. Like,
and that's why I'm excited for People We Met on Vacation, because he gets to be a cute
nerd
instead of like a terrible person.
I need to see something good from him.
I'm so excited. Like, I reread that book last year, and like when I first read it, this is so off topic of Hunger Games, but when I first read it, the beginning didn't have me hooked at all. Like, it took me a bit to get into it, but then I really enjoyed it. But then in the time since I first read it, I was like, oh, like, it's easily my least favorite Emily Henry. And then I reread it, and I'm like, what was I saying? Like,
now I need to reread it because I felt that way too.
I don't know if you'll agree with me, but in my reread, because I read Book Lovers shortly after, I think I like People We Meet on Vacation more than Book Lovers now.
What?
Which is so crazy.
I love Book Lovers.
Like, I don't know if maybe I was just not in the right headspace or like mood to be rereading Book Lovers or what, or maybe I shouldn't have read them back to back or almost back to back, but like there was something about People We Meet on Vacation that just had my little heart like fluttering in a way that Book Lovers just for some reason didn't.
Well, now I know which Emily Henry book I'm reading next.
Yes. How many have you read? Have you only read People We Meet on Vacation? Okay.
Yeah, I started book Beach Read or whatever before, but I never finished it.
I love it.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the summer for that one. I'm like, this is that I have to read that in the summer. But
I need to reread Funny Story because that's the only one I haven't reread because it came out last year. But so off topic, I'm sorry. But I think my ranking of Emily Henry is Beach Read, Happy Place, maybe Funny Story, and then People Meet on Vacation. Those ones could switch. And then Book Lovers last, which is such a shock. It's such a shock.
Now that's insane.
And to be fair, there is no last place. They're all fantastic.
Funny Story's at the bottom. At the bottom.
That was such a visceral reaction I just had. What do you mean?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I can do a whole ranking right now. I've never reread any of them, so I probably need to.
Next book club, that's what we're doing.
I would love to do that. I'm telling you.
We should just do these
this summer.
We should just do these like author, like
fixation
read-alongs. And yeah, I'm down for Emily Henry.
I'm down for Emily Henry.
But which one would we start with?
Publication order, I would say.
I was thinking the same exact thing, Brittany.
Yeah, I'm a publication girly till the day I die. Okay.
Me too.
In terms of series, most of the times with authors, I don't always stick with that, but yeah, like when people are like, "What order should you read the Hunger Games in?" I'm like, "Why is that a question?"
Yeah, like just do publication order. Though upon rereading, like I do think it's interesting to read Ballad first.
That's what I'm saying. Like once you've read the books, do whatever the fuck you want. Mm-hmm. But for that first read, you best be reading them in publication order.
I know. You gotta be gagged like we were.
Yeah.
Every reveal is insane. Which let's tie this back. Sejanus.
I don't know how this happened, but yeah.
Oh, that's on. We're talking about Tom Blythe, and I had to bring up People We Met on Vacation. That's on me.
And then
we'll do a book club. It's okay. We decided on it.
It'll be fine. Sejanus, cutie patootie. I love him. He's the only good character. One of the only good ones.
Ray,
I'm sorry, I got
wow, is your mom infiltrating your mind right now?
I'm sorry.
And the
Sejanus just overtook my entire brain. There was no room for anyone else.
No, you're so good.
I do want to discuss like how
in the capital, he's the only good one. Okay, I fixed it.
Yeah. Well, Tigress, I kind of like Tigress.
Okay.
So, but you know,
in the academy, he's the only good.
He's also not even from. He's from District 2, right? Or something.
Yeah, this is what I want to talk about because how
such an interesting thing
is his situation where they got such a name for themselves in District 2 that they're able to buy themselves into the capital, and now they're so rich that they are higher up than some of the Capital Academy kids. Like they're trying to get the plinth prize from the father. So he's at such like a privileged point, but he has a heart. And like I don't know how his parents continue on to like support Snow and the Capitol, and like I mean they're supporting the guy that is obviously actively making the games worse and worse and worse. The people that they grew up with, like they're older, so they spent like a huge majority of their life in District 2. So it's pretty messed up that they were able to like let the money and the influence allow them to be okay with what they were supporting.
Money changes people though, you know.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking like Sejanus is it Sejanus? How do you say it?
Sejanus. I thought you were saying Sir Janus.
I think I was.
Okay. So, like, is he a knight?
Not anymore, Brittany.
He's our knight in shining armor.
Is so good.
But like his dad, that's all he does. Like that's all he does is use the money to, so like and also don't they kind of somehow like adopt Snow in a way because like he's powerful and he's getting it's like Brittany said, like money can change people, and that's the same thing with power. And I think kind of the comparison between Snow and Sejanus's father, I think. So
I think it's kind of genius that she did do that because like even the district people can be influenced by this world of power. Like they are able to gain their footing and like surpass their people. And it's chilling because like his dad bought him Marcus as if that was like a good thing. Like
yeah, that
what a horrible situation. One, like buying a human, like what the frick. Okay. And then I mean he knew him. He was set up for failure. Like how did they think he was going to mentor this kid that he grew up with? Insane. It makes me so depressed. Like what happened to him, because he was really like his parents obviously were fine with doing the money of it all, but he was not. And he was doing everything he could to find a way to like be okay with the situation. So he's like, oh, well, if I'm a peacekeeper, I could become a healer. Like he's really trying to figure out like how could he help people. And when he realizes even as a peacekeeper, he's not helping people. I mean, why does Snow have to do this to him? Like, I literally don't think anyone would have found out about nothing if he didn't go behind his back. So, and
poor Sejanus deserved better.
Oh, he did. Like, he's trying to go to the north with those people. Well, then, bitch ass Snow, like 2 days later, is trying to go to the north with Lucy Gray. Like, he just, like,
I hate him
it's
so
hypocritical.
And I think that's also what Lucy Gray notices too. Like when she figures out, I feel like she has to figure out that that's the person that he murdered.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's when she kind of realizes, she's like, not only did this guy like throw his best friend, like essentially kill him, but also he's probably going to do the same to me once he's kind of done with me.
But also like because now she knows things about him that she can turn on him. So obviously he was going to like hurt her or kill her in some way. Like I don't think like no matter what he would have tried to kill her, even if she
I agree.
Like,
Oh yeah,
Lucy Gray knew what was going on.
He's so angry and controlling, and he's like losing his power in this moment. So like, give it 2 weeks, he probably would have killed her. Like, for real. Like, the situation may have been different, but also he like so quickly unleashed the fact that he's killed 3 people. He could have not kept this secret forever. So she would have found this out, and shit would have gone wrong. They could have gone to Canada, Brittany. They were almost there.
We don't want
God. That just reminded me, Brittany, I was going to send you something. I ate something from Canada today.
What was it?
It was like a cake thing. I forget what it was called. It was because we had a multicultural fair thing, and we had something from Canada. It was from the Great Depression or something. I don't know. Let me check.
I don't think she was alive during that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't think I'd be eating this.
No, I know. But it's supposedly a Canadian delicacy or something. I'll send it to you. Anyway, back to the book.
What
a side tangent there.
Oh, we have a lot of side tangents.
Oh, here's a good question. Do y'all like that Suzanne incorporated a romance in this book? Do you wish it hadn't happened the way that it did? Or do we like that he had to grapple with these emotions with her? I got y'all good with that.
I think because we're in Snow's point of view, and like the way that he sees love is controlling, I personally don't really see it as like, I guess it's a romance in his book, but like I saw it more as like a complicated, manipulative relationship. Like, like I think it's also like Suzanne Collins is a lot about love is gonna save us all and stuff like that. And I think her comparing some relationships from the Hunger Games series and then this one and kind of seeing the contrast is interesting. So
it is interesting. She can write such a good romance, and then we have this one.
And like it's not like, yeah, I agree. Like it's obviously not like, but it's like a well-written like relationship, like because it's like a good arc. Like it makes you think.
I think I've been trying to like think about how I want to like use words to say this, but I think it added like a necessary layer to his character, because especially like in the Hunger Games, he's like, you know, the things we love the most, or like whatever the line is. I think it gave context. Yeah, I think it gave context to that because he knows. So he also then knows how to use that against people. Right. So I think it was necessary to give us like the context to why he's so like the way that he is, you know.
It makes me wonder like how long does she at least have like an inkling of what inspired him to say that line, like the things that we love most destroy us?
I'm sure she knew.
Yeah.
Like something was in his past, because it all ties in so nicely. Like when you reread The Snow from the original trilogy and then you compare it to where we end in this one, like you can totally see how these things happened. And what was so interesting about Sunrise on the Reaping is we got that little middle piece where I don't know how long he's been in power, but the propaganda that was around, it just made me think that this was kind of fresh, like him fully being at the top, and he's probably trying to keep it forever, you know? So, who knows?
I was going to say something and I think I forgot.
No. Ooh, here's a good point. So the whole book, whole movie, they keep referencing like how the district started this war. Like they're the reason for everything. District 13 retaliated because they were all getting oppressed by the Capitol, just like we see here. but like without the games, like they were still controlling everyone. And then one day they were like, no, bitch, like you can't just take all of our resources and control us and not let us live. So I find it so interesting how warped all of these people are, thinking that they were never going to fight back ever. Like, you're mad that this war was started by them when your whole corrupt government, like the whole institution, it was set up so that people would want to retaliate eventually. So,
well, I feel like corrupt people don't be knowing that they corrupt.
I know.
Exactly. They're like, oh, wait, what about stop the violence? And it's like, you guys started it. Like, this is the violence that you created because of that violence and corruption that you have. Speaking of violence and corruption, remember someone recently on Twitter, they posted a screenshot from a Goodreads review, and someone was like, oh, I didn't like Sunrise on the Reaping because it was too sad. And I was like, do you not think the other Hunger Games books are sad? Because, like, even with this one, you're like, geez, like, there's so much terribleness. Like, all the books have terribleness happening in it, but, like, it's awful. But anyway.
Like, how can you expect to go into a book about kids having to murder each other and not expect it to be sad?
That's horrific.
Yeah. Interesting.
Like, my mom has a coworker who hates the Hunger Games simply because she cannot physically read it. Like, she's like, it's too, like, horrible, like, all the things happen. She's like, she just physically, like, it makes her sick. So she, like, can't read it. And I'm like, see, but, like, that makes sense. So it's like kids murdering each other. Like,
yeah.
Like, you know what you're getting into.
And when I first heard about the series, my sister introduced it to me because her school read it as like one of their books. And then it was right when the first movie was coming out. So the class like went to go see the movie. And then she ended up showing me the movie. I did not watch it. The only clip I saw was when Katniss finds Peeta in the camouflage by the river. So that's all I knew. But she told me what it was about, and she's like, yeah, it's like kids like fighting to the death. And I was like, oh my God, like I don't want to watch that. I don't want to read that. That sounds awful. So I actually did not touch it for a hot second until I like found book 2 when like everybody was like, this is so good. I'm like, okay, I'll give it a try. But I was turned off too because I was a pure little 12-year-old that probably did not read about death yet. Like, little did I know I was about
We're very different 12-year-olds then.
I had like the books that I read were like series of unfortunate events, which I guess like that's not good either. So we'll give it that. But like Junie B. Jones, like whatever, you know, like the classic stuff.
When you were 12?
No, but I can't think of anything that I read. Like, I'm blanking right now.
Okay. When I was 12, I had already read Twilight. I'd read The Hunger Games. I'd read Vampire Academy. Like,
I hadn't found any of this. Like, I think I found Shadow Falls.
Guys, I'm gonna leave the live stream now. Shadow Falls has been mentioned.
Like, as a 12-year-old, Shadow Falls was like everything to me. I was like, this is great. It's like an introduction to fantasy. Nothing too murderous. So this was like the turning point for me, like these books. And it was insane. I like ate them up.
My grade 6 teacher read The Hunger Games to us. And then my mom read Vampire Academy. I think a coworker recommended it to her, and then she read it, and then she told me to read it. But to be fair, I was always like above my reading level. I was also always reading things older than my other like classmates, which honestly, I've seen people say this, but when you're told that you read grades above your reading level, you really think that's going to take you farther in life than it does.
I know.
Like, I thought I was
mine too, and I thought I was
real
gifted.
bitch. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like my library at my elementary school, they had like colors for like the different reading levels. Lime green was like the highest of the high. I got me my Charlotte's Web, and I was like reading it in class. I'm like, I'm a cool girl. You know, like you feel smart. No.
When did you read Charlotte's Web?
I don't know, but I loved that book. I loved Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Ew.
I'm sorry. I know I forgot about the Willy Wonka, but no, I love Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Oh my god.
Katniss Kitty, come here. Katniss Kitty has made an entrance.
Kitty Katniss.
Hello. Okay.
So back to Ballad.
Oh, Katniss Kitty. I
She's not
agree.
gonna let me do this for long.
Oh, she's so cute.
She's vicious.
Well,
I can hear Jennifer Lawrence speaking through her. I'm trying to think of a quote. I'm trying to think of a Katniss quote, but the only thing I can think of is "Damn you, Gale."
the only thing that came to my
Of
mind
all
was
the ones.
the only thing that came to my mind was the snarling, like weird, like face she makes when Joanna is like stripping down in the elevator.
Oh, I do remember. Thank you for your consideration. That's
Oh yeah. And then
Also-
the bow.
which bringing it back to Ballad.
Lucy Gray.
Yes. Which I think she said it wasn't planned and she just naturally did that. I'm like, embodied her.
I think because I think she said because she does it in the book, right? She does bow a little bit or curtsy or something in the book.
No memory.
It's okay, but they improv'd it, and then I remember the trailer coming out and everyone's like, "It's the Katniss bow."
No.
Oh my gosh!
It'd be crazy if they have Hamish do it at some point.
Yeah, whoever plays Hamish is just gonna bow.
I cannot wait to see who they choose. I have no idea who this person is. I am super excited.
Yeah, I really want it to be an unknown, but there's one actor where I'm like, if it's him, good. And that's it. So, but all the people that people are fan casting, they're older. And I'm like, guys, we need to have an accurate age. That's the point. I mean, obviously not 16, 18 to 22 age, because child labor laws, and also let's not sexualize minors. Anyway, I don't know why I said that. I think it's the Pretty Little Liars watching that made me say that. Anyway,
what season are you on?
I'm on season 3.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, but yeah, I'm excited. I really do hope it's an unknown, because that's the thing I liked about the Ballad movie is, even though I enjoyed the cast of the original series, I felt like for these people to take on this this book with such a big history, they did such a good job. I saw both, because I've not grown up with Rachel Zegler, but I've even before she was famous, I watched her YouTube videos. So seeing her as Lucy Gray, I'm like, that's Lucy Gray. I can't see, she embodied that role. And same thing to Tom Blythe. Both of them embodied their roles. And I think everyone in that movie did a really good job with the roles they were given. So
yeah, I loved it. Rachel Zegler has come so far.
I love her. It's so funny because I remember when she was cast in West Side Story, and I was like, this girl looks familiar. Why does she look familiar? And then I was like, oh, this is a girl that I used to watch YouTube covers of. And then now here she is.
That's so
and I also
cool.
love that she's a big Hunger Games fan.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen what was it? There was she tweeted out something years ago being like, Hamish book.
Yeah,
I think
love
when it was
that.
announced, she was like, "You're welcome."
That is so funny. Obsessed with her. Oh, something we have not talked about is, where is Lucy Gray? Do you think she's dead? Did she make it to the North? Obviously, we have new information, but what do you feel And what did you feel before Sunrise on the Reaping?
We watched the movie, and my mom kept asking me, she's like, what happened to her? I'm like, bitch, I don't know. That's the whole point. I have no answers for you.
I think only Suzanne knows.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think she's told anyone, because I was watching a lot of Ballad interviews, and there's one interview where someone asked the actors and the director, and the director's like, yeah, I know. And everyone's like, what? And you haven't told us? And then he's like, actually, I'm lying. He's like, I don't even know. So, like, I think I like that it's open up to interpretation. I like to think that she lived a peaceful life. Like, that she's just within the wilderness. She's just chilling with all the snakes and stuff. Like, I think I like to think she lived a peaceful life and then, like, died peacefully.
Yeah. I feel that way too, and I'm still gonna hold on to it because there's so many reasons to feel either which way. And I think the whole beauty of it is, like, her poem is all about how she's a mystery and, like, she disappears and no one really understands. It's so perfect. It is infuriating though. Like, we love to know everything, but I hope she never tells a soul.
Yeah, me too. Like,
it's beautiful.
I will say the only time I will ever say that's not true to people theorizing what Lucy Gray is, like, do you guys remember there was, like, people thinking, like, oh yeah, she's President Coin, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, huh?
Or that, like, it's Coin is her daughter or something.
Bullshit.
My mom asked me if Katniss and Lucy Gray were related, and I was like,
I'm not gonna say anything.
We're not gonna speak on this today.
But, like, it's just so funny that, like, because, like, I'm sorry, if Lucy Gray's daughter was President Coin, she'd be rolling around in her grave. Like, she'd be like,
Yeah.
Really? I think because she would probably get as far away from it, because I forget what she specifically says to Snow about being away and being free, because Snow talks a lot about, like, human nature and stuff like that, and she's like, well, I think everyone is just, like, who they are, and let's just let them live. And I think that kind of is her character, and she would live like that.
I have so many emotions. Sorry. Okay. Oh, Dean Highbottom. Let's just talk about the sadness of this man. Like,
yeah.
I can't imagine being him and, like, not intentionally causing such destruction and, like, cannot stop it. Is so close to having it die out, and then a stupid Snow ruins his life again and then kills him.
yeah.
Like, what a man.
What a man.
But I love, like, how the book ends so perfectly, like, giving him the poison and the morphling. Like, he knew he would take it after upsetting him. And it's his first intentional poisoning, and clearly it starts off, who knows how many people this man killed, you know? Countless.
I don't want to know.
Yeah. We know that at least in the book it's 3. We don't know how many more that multiplied into.
Now we got 4.
4.
We count Dean. So.
Oh, right.
5 if you want to count his bullshit story about, you know, killing himself.
So I wish you did. So
you just said that with your whole chest.
I mean, if he did, though, like, we might have saved a lot of lives. So, just saying. Don't support it, but.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm trying to see if I missed anything. But low-key, so many of the things that I've wanted to say have to do with Sunrise on the Reaping.
Peyton, you gotta wait.
We gotta wait.
I know.
Okay, I will say, since we talked about this in the Mockingjay one, I will say the audiobook for Ballad so much better than the Mockingjay one. And I will say it's because the person doesn't intend to sing the song. He just reads it in a poetic kind of like not passionate, an emotional way that I'm like, okay, I can take this over. Are you coming to the tree? And then also I would listen to the movie version, which I don't know how you guys would have done that. Like when you're reading it originally, like just being like, okay, we'll see how this goes, this song. So
that's good that you mentioned the music though, because I feel like Suzanne clearly loves music and is making a point with them that like they don't ever die, and like you can burn the books, you can get rid of this, I don't know, any of the literature, but songs carry generations, and we kind of see that in like all three of these separate series or whatever books. And I love that, and it becomes so much like richer when we have all three of these together. And I feel like it's very true. Like stories really pass even throughout history, like orally, like oral poems and things like that. Like it's
yeah,
to remember.
And that's how for example, Lucy Gray. It's a song. I mean, they made it into a song, but I believe it's an original a poem or something like that. And then obviously we have with Sunrise, the Raven, my boy Edgar Allan Poe. So like that's like we find ways to continue that feelings and stuff. So
I'm gonna show y'all something. Mentioning our man Edgar Allan Poe. I got his head.
Wait, I need to take a picture of this for my family.
I'm just saying I got his head. It's called a bust, honey. Got his head.
I think I've been wanting to get this, but at the bookstore near me, there's like Edgar Allan Poe candles, and I really want to get them for my like family because they love Edgar Allan Poe, man.
I didn't know that about them.
Well, it's because they're where am from originally. Edgar Allan Poe is a big like icon. Like for example, I went to a restaurant that's all based off one of his poems, and this is what it looks like.
He lived in the area, right?
Yeah, so like that's why
currently he lives in the area.
That bitch is dead.
I know, but you said he lives.
There, I think
he lives in that area. That's what you said.
Yeah, he's alive.
His ghost haunts everybody, I'm sure. Has to.
Hey, his ghost is haunted by the mascot of a football team. Because there used to be 3, and they were all named Edgar Allan Poe. Like each one was named Edgar Allan.
Interesting.
We'll get into this with the Sunrise discussion for the Raven.
I love how she draws like these poems. Like the whole naming system for the cubby is so cool, and I feel like we're gonna see people do this to their children. I'm just saying. I think that's gonna be a trend.
My dad did not understand Lucy Gray's name.
Oh, he's struggling through this movie.
He really was.
Like, because I don't think they really explained it in the movie either.
No.
Like they didn't explain the naming conventions.
But he thought Lucy Gray was her full name. Like first name Lucy, last name Gray. So he's like, why do they only refer to her as Lucy Gray? I'm like, what do you mean that's her name? And he's like, yeah, but like, why say her full name every time? And I'm like, sir, her full name's Lucy Gray Baird. And he's like, okay, but like, why are they calling her by her first and middle name then? I'm like, no, Lucy Gray is her first name. And he's like, well, that's dumb. And he wasn't understanding it. And then he's like, I'll call you Brittany Rose. I'm like, Gray's not her middle name.
Like, middle names don't exist.
No, I'm like, it's Lucy Gray Baird. Lucy Gray Baird. I'm like, he was not getting it, and then he really didn't like it. He was so not on board with this movie.
Oh, I hate that.
Poor man.
My mom hasn't seen it yet, so I'm curious how.
Yeah, my family hasn't seen it either. They were interested in it, and then my boyfriend was also interested in it because he was like, isn't this the one where Snow is hot or something like that? Like, just looking at him. And I was like, yeah, it is. And then he likes the Olivia Rodrigo song.
It is a good song.
Which, by the way, that song is so good for that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Genuinely, such a good song for that movie. I'm excited to see whoever's doing the titular song for Sunrise. I hope it's Hozier.
Oh, that would be cool. Yeah, I love like the music that they add to these movies. Like, it's always spot on.
Yeah, and I love the music in this one in particular. I like that it's kind of like not southern, but like, yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Brittany. That's the correct terminology for it. Like something like that. I think it's a good vibe, and I like it. I think it fits, and also like they didn't try, at least in the movie, they didn't do like. They kept it folk. Like it wasn't like, you know, in some movies where they're like, this is whatever genre music, and then it's just a pop song. Like this, they actually knew what they were doing and wanted to keep it authentic.
I also love how whenever Suzanne Collins writes a song into the book, the lyrics stay the same. Like they don't change it for the movie. It's just exactly how she wrote it. Because like for things like Daisy Jones and the Six, they changed things.
Oh, really?
Right?
I didn't notice that.
Yeah. So, like, because they have the song lyrics at the back of the book and they're not the same, and, like, songs are completely different, or they, like, did songs that weren't in the book, or, like, whatever. Other people know more about it than me, but I really appreciate that, like, they kept Suzanne's exactly as they were, and probably talked to her about, like, what she thought it would sound like, and, like, I can imagine it would probably be kind of collaborative.
She's so good at writing them. Like, I feel like
she must have like some sort of background in like poetry or like
yeah, and that actually, you bringing up the poetry part, I think that's why all the songs end up being really good, because I think she writes it
as a song
in a poetry way, and that's why I like the audiobook, that he reads it like a poem, because it can work as a poem and then work as a song also. So
yeah, because I know that I liked the lyrics in Daisy Jones and the Six, but maybe they wouldn't have translated well into a song. Like I don't know if they tried and it just wasn't working, or if they from the beginning wanted to create new music. Like I have no idea. But it's just something I've always appreciated.
I can ask. I know someone who worked on the music on that show.
Oh, really?
I forgot. I should text you guys.
I love that book and
Give me the tea. Jesus Christ. Way to like drop the bomb.
Yeah, that's
bury the lead. Like,
also, once again, our man Sam Claflin, why is he in every adaptation for like a book? Love him.
I think I sent you guys the tweet, maybe, but somebody tweeted like, if there's one thing Sam Claflin's gonna do, he's
gonna die.
But like one of the pictures was Billy Dunn from Daisy Jones and the Six. And we're like, when the fuck did Billy die?
I'm sure he died one day.
Right? Like I don't know if that's what they meant. Like he's gonna die eventually, but I'm like, that's just any character he's ever played then. Like, we all die eventually.
Yeah.
Like, when the fuck did Billy Dunn die? Did you see a version of the show that we didn't see? Like,
I need to rewatch that.
Oh, me too. It's so good.
Read it. So when I was home, my mom was like, because she reserves library books, and I was like, oh, I have so many books downstairs. Let me see if there's anything here that you can like read physically, because I have it. And I was like, oh, you like, what's the author's name of Daisy
Taylor
Jones?
Jenkins Reid.
Yeah, I was like, oh, you liked Evelyn Hugo, so here's Daisy Jones and the Six. And she goes, I have been on the wait list for this book for months. And I said, yeah, and it's been in your basement this entire time where you couldn't be reading it. I need to read it. I think
good.
I heard it's good.
Listen to the audiobook.
Yeah, the audiobook is cool.
Yeah. Audiobooks are getting good. I will say I wanted to read Get a Life.
Chloe Brown.
Yeah, the audiobook.
Love that book.
I love that. Well, like I think I would like it, but the audiobook person is British.
Well, because it's a British series.
It is?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Because I was like, this feels off. I didn't expect these people to be. Thank you for letting me know. Maybe I will go back to that audiobook now.
I haven't read it in so long, so I didn't have a memory of it being a British book.
Yeah. I think Talia Hibbert's British.
I believe it. I just forgot.
Did I pull this out of my ass? I don't think I pulled this out of my ass.
No,
I think
trust
you're
you.
very informative.
Am
I
I?
only read that first one, but I loved it.
I do love when I'm working and somebody just like they're looking for a book and they'll just tell me the title of it and then I'm like, yes, it's by this author, and then I'll like go find it. I'm like, I feel so like knowledgeable.
That was my favorite part of working at a bookstore is when that happened, because I felt so happy when that happened.
But then you get that random person that wants history and science books. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, somebody was looking for John Green's, not the new one, but his other like sciencey book.
And, the Anthropocene Review.
Yeah, and they said that, and it was such like a specific title that I was like, oh, John Green, let's go. But like I'd never given that book 2 seconds of my time. Like I never thought about it. But I was like, John Green, I know what that is. But yes, she is British because it says a typically cantankerous Brit. Talia's hobbies include chugging cups of tea, eating too many biscuits, and complaining bitterly about the weather.
Good for her.
Biscuits. I know she means like cookies because she's British, but I love a good, like, legitimate biscuit. Like a southern fluffy biscuit. That's my favorite thing. Fun fact about me. Okay, so that's like it. I got no other thoughts. Yeah.
So real. Let's see.
Not y'all trying. I'm just like, I prepared.
I just like opened up a page and they're okay. The way that I tabbed this book was like I added tabs to like specifically put like President Snow things and like that lead to like the Hunger Games, and then I had one specifically for the games and like how they change and whatnot. But then I also mainly have angry tabs. This book made me extremely angry. That's most of my tabs in here. And I don't even tab angry things anymore. I just so happened to be like following how I annotated the Hunger Games, and I had angry in that one too. But anyways, this line is like I think that Sejanus. Oh yeah, this is when he's trying to feed the tributes when they're in the zoo, and it's after Snow's stunt, where he was like in the cage with them or whatever, and he's like, "What was Sejanus up to? Was he trying to outdo him and steal the day's thunder?" And I'm like, I loathe how he views people in Sejanus, like just how like corrupt he is, that he thinks that Sejanus can't just be doing something out of the kindness of his heart for like other people. Like he thinks that he's trying to get something out of this and trying to like upstage you. Like, sir, he's not even thinking about that. I guarantee it. Like he's just absolutely wanting to take care of these tributes because that's what they deserve as human beings.
Calculated. That's why I don't understand how anyone reads this and thinks anything good about him.
That's literally only 62 pages into the book. So like he evil from the beginning. And I got an angry tab as early as page 4.
That's crazy. What's that one?
This one. Oh, okay. It's because he was thinking about Tigress. And like, okay, so the whole paragraph is he thought of people putting a price on her. With her long pointed nose and skinny body, Tigress was no great beauty, but she had a sweetness, a vulnerability that invited abuse. She would find takers if she had a mind to. The idea made him feel sick and helpless and consequently disgusted with himself. And then that made me so angry because I was like, then you go forward and like sell tributes bodies or like victors' bodies. Like that made me angry. So it was more so about like future Snow than him in that particular moment, but
that's what makes him so gross. He has like he literally understands that these things are terrible. Like, he gets it. He's so warped in his head to think that they need order. Like, this is the only way for the world to survive. So that's what's so interesting, because I feel like most evil rulers that we have seen throughout history and modern time, like, that is what their thought process is. Like, she has such an interesting character study of how twisted these people think, because these, like y'all said earlier, they don't think they're wrong. Like, they are fully convinced that whatever evils they do are for the greater good of the society and everyone succeeding. And it's horrifying.
Yeah, because we see it from Snow's grandmother, that she's constantly being like, district people are evil and they're disgusting and all this stuff. And Tigress is like, what are you talking? I mean, not she's not fully like, what are you talking about? But she's like, in a way, like, kind of like, she's just, this girl's trying to survive and stuff. And obviously Tigress is a character that's going to come around from what we know of the series, but it's interesting.
There was another line that was kind of foreshadowing, I suppose, his fate in Mockingjay, because like it's when the tributes are like looking at him, like when they're going to the zoo, and he's like, kill him? Did they really mean to beat him to death right here in broad daylight in the middle of the Capitol?
Like, I did not think about that. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Get his ass. Get that. And also that a lot of people, wait, that just made me realize, like, because like a lot of people got beaten just in the middle of the districts, and he would order it, and then he ended up, get that.
And then literally just a little bit down, because it's like, when they say, let's kill him, they're like, they can't do nothing worse to us. And then Lucy's like, not to us, maybe. You got family back home, someone they could punish there. And I wrote Snow's favorite move. His favorite move.
Oh, he loves that. Snow. What a guy. And when I say what a guy, I mean a terrible man.
And like, what's wild, right, is that he is so responsible for the games turning into what we know them as, right? Like, I'm assuming he was behind, them being fed and them being, on a nice train and like in the nice like tribute apartments and like whatever. So like, he saw the horrors that they went through. He experienced it. Like, he was in the zoo with the people looking at him. Like, he experienced parts of what they went through firsthand, and he got to see what it did to them. And instead of being like, let's put an end to all of this, this is all awful, he was like, no, let's just make the conditions slightly better before they have to go kill each other. Like, sir, you could have just put an end to the whole damn thing.
A normal person would have been affected by all the things that he witnessed. Like, he was even in the arena for 2 seconds there. So that's how dark and twisted he was. Like, how do you see all of that, get to know the victor herself and how like she's traumatized from it, and you still are able, because he points out to Dr. Gale like how they're human, like that's the thing that they need to latch onto to make people care about their tribute. So we'll be excited about the chance of them surviving. Like, he's so aware of all of these aspects, and that's why he was so successful in doing what he was doing, which is horrible.
What makes me so sad is that Sejanus somehow genuinely viewed Snow as a friend, right? Like, his best friend, brothers. Like, he had such a like misunderstanding of Snow because Snow was able to like put on like a front and like manipulate the people around him. But like, it's really like the things that you're missing from the movie are things like this, where he's like, Sejanus had already usurped. Is that how you say that?
Yeah.
Usurped his position, his inheritance, his clothes, his candy, his sandwiches, and the privilege due a Snow. Now he was coming for his apartment, his spot at the university, his very future, and had the gall to be resentful of his good fortune, to reject it, to consider it a punishment even. If having Marcus as a tribute made Sejanus squirm, then good, let him squirm. Lucy Gray was one thing belonging to Coriolanus that he would never ever get. Because this is when like he wants to like trade the tributes.
Yeah, that's a wild passage.
Wild. Because like I feel like if you were to just watch the movie, like there's really only a couple of times where he's like we're not friends. But like that could be seen as him just trying to impress or like get along with the other academy students. Whereas like we know that like, because when you're watching the movie, you could just be like, oh, they are actually friends. He's just embarrassed with the other people. But like he truly despises Sejanus.
He does,
Yeah,
and he probably sorry.
No, go right ahead.
Oh, he probably like kept him at arm's length or close enough because he's able to recognize that he is privileged and he has so much money and power. If he did not have anything, he probably wouldn't have even spoken to him and treated him like scum.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I was going to say, I think also Snow sees the similarities between the two, and that kind of scares him. Like, he doesn't want to be like Sejanus.
Mm-hmm.
So in a way, technically, he kind of did kill. The third person he killed was himself, in a way.
He could have taken a different path.
Yeah, exactly.
A little thing is like when they go into the arena and they go past like the turnstile things and it says enjoy the show. One, chilling enough as it is in the book, but that was so chilling in the movie to like actually hear it and then to hear it go and go and go. Terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
And then that also goes back to I think it's said in Mockingjay where people can visit old arenas and they see it more as like, oh, this is where my favorite part of the Hunger Games happened, where this person did that. And I think in Mockingjay they change it to like memorials and like museums and stuff like that. But like that's also haunting that you're entering into this thing and it's like, hey, enjoy, because that's what you are. Like, hear the performance.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Suzanne. Oh my gosh. I love Suzanne Collins. Suzanne Collins, please. We just want to sit in a room with you. That's it.
Seriously.
I hate to reference The Fault in Our Stars, but you know the scene where Hazel Grace is like, I need to talk to this author? That's us.
Mm-hmm.
It's exactly us, like for real. We have a lot to say to this lady.
We need to pretend to be like high schoolers that are like, we're doing a project on the Hunger Games and can you help us? Because obviously she'll be like, sure, you're high school students. I'm going to help with your project. And then we come in and she's like...
I wonder how many like people try to reach out to her. Like, does she even have an email that anyone could find? Like,
remember, I got an IMDb free trial so we can have that information. So
gotta send
I have her publicist. I just need hello, publicist.
I do love Dean Highbottom because like they're having a conversation right now, and Lucky. Oh, I think they're doing like an interview maybe between Lucky and Dean Highbottom, and Lucky's like, surely you're not comparing our children to theirs. One look tells you ours are a superior breed. And then Dean Highbottom is like, one look tells you ours have had more food, nicer clothing, and better dental care. Assuming anything more, a physical, mental, or especially a moral superiority would be a mistake. That sort of hubris almost finishes off in the war. Mm-hmm. And then Lucky's just like, your views are absolutely fascinating.
Oh my god, that part in the movie where he was interviewing Lucy Gray and he's like, oh, what a like honor to see someone's last performance. I was like,
even my mom was like, oh.
Like, what a wild thing for him to say.
Yeah, like hate Lucky so much. But some things he says, especially the way that he delivers, like the actor, so good. The way he delivered the lines in the movie, I have no choice but to burst out laughing. I'm like, what you're saying is insane, but the way you're saying it is the best. Like, it's so good.
We needed like a little bit of comic relief, like something to lighten the load. Even though, like you said, it was like some terrible shit. But like the weather, we're just doing a weather report in the middle of the Hunger Games, like.
Making a dinner renovation, being like, the games are going on longer, I can't get there. But then also this, Lucky Flickerman came up in the corner of the screen, a napkin tucked into his collar, and a smudge of blueberry on his chin. And I was like, this is all at once low-key hilarious and also disturbing, appearing on screen like that while you wait for kids to murder each other.
Yeah.
Like, sir, not the napkin in your...
That's just the weatherman turned like a Hunger Games host.
Do we? Okay, this is kind of off topic, but it's still in the Hunger Games realm. Do we think Stanley Tucci's gonna come back as Caesar Flickerman?
I wanted to talk about this because I saw a whole thread about it earlier.
Oh wait, you did?
Yeah.
I think so. Like someone was talking about the fact that I think Katniss says something about how Caesar like looks the same as he did when he first started like announcing the Hunger Games and hosting the Hunger Games, and they're like, so like technically it would kind of make sense for him to appear younger in the Hunger Games movies than he would potentially
interesting
in Haymitch's movie, because like he could have gotten like surgeries done to make himself look younger.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like they could do it, maybe do a little bit of de-aging or something on him so it's not, like, atrocious looking.
Honestly, he doesn't look bad from what I can remember, so I feel like it wouldn't be that hard to make him look the same.
I feel like everybody agrees, and I just hope that the people making the movie also agree, but I just feel like there's nobody else who can play Caesar Flickerman. And maybe I'll eat my words if they do recast him, but I'm like, I just feel like nobody can play him.
I mean, he has to be willing. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I feel like they do it if he's willing.
We just
Come on, Stanley.
We just gotta do. Have you guys seen Conclave? It's a movie he's in about all mean girls, but the priest, and like literally the entire movie is just backstabbing with like blackmail. That's just what we gotta do with him to get into this movie.
Please get him in this movie. I would die. Even if no one else comes back, like he is the host of the Hunger Games. Like I feel like he's probably the most important one to get for
like,
this.
I feel like he's the only one that I'd be like, yes, please use him.
Yeah.
So I feel like it wouldn't make sense to use like Elizabeth Banks for Effie.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to say that.
Oh God. She didn't show up nowhere.
No. What? Anyways.
What are you guys talking about?
The only one that we knew would be there is Caesar because he interviewed him.
Well, and Snow, obviously.
Oh yeah.
What? Wait, President Snow is in Sunrise on the
Wait, Haymitch wins the games?
Guys, no, that's spoilers because like wait, President Snow has always been the president? How does that happen?
You know, who was the president while he was there?
They talk about it, I think, in Sunrise of who the president was originally.
Don't they say it in this one who the president is?
I got no idea, but now I'm like really interested.
I feel like they said it in the movie, no? At least.
Oh, you're talking about for like while he was here. Oh, I don't know.
I don't know either.
He's like so focused on the.
Somebody go to Hunger Games Wiki. I'm sure they got it.
Exactly, that's what I was about to do. Hunger Games Wiki.
I do love this quote from Dr. Gale, and I feel like they shortened it in the movie potentially, but I just love it. What happened in the arena? That's humanity undressed, the tributes, and you too. How quickly civilization disappears. All your fine manners, education, family background, everything you pride yourself on, stripped away in the blink of an eye, revealing everything you actually are. A boy with a club who beats another boy to death. That's mankind in its natural state.
Ugh.
Okay, so Maximus Ravenstill was the president of Panem during the 10th Hunger Games and back before the Dark Days.
Okay, that sounds familiar.
Yeah. After 3 years of
look what I found in my book.
What is it? Bookmark.
I don't have any Hunger Games bookmarks, and I'm so mad about it.
You gotta get the new ones if you're ever able to go to Barnes and Noble or wherever.
Maybe I'll finally get it.
I'll buy one for you, Brittany, and I'll send it to you.
You at least have to have the ticket one. I love the
ticket.
I
love the ticket one.
It's such a cool idea.
I want both of them. I want all of them. Oh, this one's oh so sickening. One thing we do know is that we've got something to celebrate. Confetti fell from the ceiling and Lucky blew madly away on a plastic horn, because we've just hit the halfway mark. That's right, 12 tributes down and only 12 to go. A string of brightly colored handkerchiefs shot out of his hand. He swung it around his head, dancing and cheering. Woo-wee! I wish we could have seen that in the movie. That actor saying woo-wee. That would have been hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
But, like, what the fuck?
Opportunity.
Not the confetti. Oh, Jesus.
Oh, you know what it was? He's seated at the funeral of one of the dead kids of the Capitol, the president's son, the president. He attended the funeral of Arcane Crane. I don't think I said his name right. Thank you.
Oh,
where he was
got stabbed.
Mm-hmm. After Snow sang the national anthem, he gave an approving nod. And then he delivered a eulogy soon after, claiming that Arachne had died valiantly and they would honor her sacrifice. This eulogy marked the beginning of the funeral process.
That is interesting. I wish we got more.
I know. I think I was confusing. The thing with Sunrise was them talking about the mayor. That's what I was confusing it with, because I think Camish says something around the lines of like, oh, this mayor is actually competent, like he actually wanting to do their job, so they'll probably get
rid of them.
yeah, so
that's crazy. We have like a humane person. Let's get rid of them. That's exactly what they think.
Tigress makes me so sad.
know.
All she wanted was for like Snow to become a good person.
I know.
And she's like, I keep wondering how it came to this, that my baby cousin, who wouldn't hurt a fly, has to fight for his life in the arena. And then I just hate what they're doing to you. And I'm like, she doesn't even know yet the things that he's gonna do.
And then at the end, she wants him dead. Like, she essentially...
Imagine getting a Tigress book.
Right? Like, I was talking to my mom after the movie, and I'm like, I just want to know, like, at what point things fully switched between them. Like, at one point, did she fully turn on him, or he turned on her? Because all we know, I think, is in Mockingjay, at least the movie. I don't remember the book. But Katniss is like, I remember you were a stylist. And then she was like, yeah, until Snow decided I wasn't pretty enough.
Yeah. It's
like,
how it is in the book.
I'm like, how did we get here?
Yes, Peyton?
This is where I get really excited because you mentioned earlier the line about prostitution. Mm-hmm. And there was another line somewhere that kind of seems like maybe she really did do that at some point. Because, I don't know, they needed money. And he was like, where did you get that? And she's like, well, don't worry about it.
Oh, yes, you're right.
Then people, I watched a theory video like a billion years ago. But I really think there's something to it. And if there ever was like a Tigress book, I feel like this would be so interesting. I just thought about this. So a lot of people, that theory video proposed that because she seems to have a connection to prostitution, maybe she was the stylist of Finnick, because Finnick was the first Hunger Games that Katniss remembers if you timeline it in her age. So Tigress was still a stylist when Katniss could remember, you know? So it wasn't that long ago that she stopped doing it. And those characters obviously would connect in that way. So I'm like, wonder if we ever got a book where Tigress is the stylist during Finnick's Hunger Games. And she's like watching it. I don't know. Crazy shit. And then we see like what happens to him, which I don't see what happens to him, but like, I mean, that I feel like really could spark just absolute anger.
And Finnick died right before they went to Tigress.
I know. I thought about that because I'm like, that could have been the answer right there. Like, if they knew each other and like they are the career pack, like she would probably be with one of the career districts.
Imagine if she like loved Finnick in the way that like Katniss's prep team was like connected to her.
That's what I'm saying. This is such a genuine theory now. Like
I hope you're wrong because this hurts. Like I can't do this.
Oh no, it's the part of the live stream where we have a moment where someone says something that's a theory and it ends up being too sad. Hold on.
No, but everyone calls for Finnick's story, and like low key, if we do get Finnick's story, do we really want to be in a perspective of a character like actually going through that, you know? But how interesting would it be to see a character who has experienced that before and has this crazy ass interconnected relationship with the person causing harm to all these other kids? And she clearly has a moral compass. Like, she does not think this is right.
I'm very intrigued by Tigress for sure.
I know. I'm like, I still did not get what I need from her. Like, I need that. I feel like that is a missing link.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how did we see her here and get there?
Yeah, because like, I mean, if she wants to give us a Finnick book, I'll take it. But I'm gonna say it now, and I could eat my words. But like, I would rather have it from Tigress's POV or like something. Like, I don't really want to be in the head of Finnick when he's like going through all of that. I think that's too much, and I can't imagine that Suzanne would want to be writing that, especially since he is so young in the game.
Exactly.
That it would feel like Rue, like being in the head of Rue, and then like I don't know, just like 100 times worse.
I feel like we just came up with a really solid story idea.
This sucks. I hate this.
I feel like it makes sense.
It does, and I hate that. It makes it worse. I wish that I could say you're so stupid and you're so.
That's the thing. We have learned from this lady that the smallest detail matters, and that's why my theory video ended up being so spot on, because I was going off of the tiniest breadcrumbs that she would leave, and like she legitimately will pull things in that was literally one line. And like the fact that there is that potential connection between them, I'm like, that's something.
Like the amount of times my jaw dropped just in the first chapter of Sunrise on the Reaping, like this woman, her mind, I can't.
She's so good.
I can't do this anymore. She's gonna give me a heart
attack. And I don't. Sorry, I'm going crazy.
No, I'm just saying that I'm trying to find Tigress stuff in Mockingjay. Go on.
Shit, what was I gonna say? This was like a big deal. Come on, brain. What was I thinking? Oh, I don't know if y'all read the interview that was in some of the exclusive editions. But she did mention how when she pitched the ballad, like she also said she had the idea for Haymitch's story. So I'm like, we don't know what she's got planned out, you know? And she said that years later that book came out. Like there was a 5-year jump in between these two books. So we can really never put to bed that there's no chance. So there's another one, because I didn't think Ballad would ever exist. I didn't think like Sunrise on the Reaping would ever exist. So but the puzzle piece feels like it's missing. Like some people said Plutarch was the missing piece, and I'm not going to say anything on it, but I feel like we have a little bit more to understand his perspective a bit. But Tigress, my girl, where are you? I need to know your story.
Coriolanus, so what the fuck? In some ways, it had been better to have her locked up in the capital, where he always had a general idea of what she was doing.
That's
like things like this was missing from the movie.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus, fuck. That's disgusting.
Oh my gosh.
He gets off on control
Tigress.
of like everybody. So for him to be the most powerful person in the entire country, I mean, and he got to enjoy that for so long. Like, I wish somebody ruined that for him sooner.
Yeah. Oh, Sejanus' death. I can't even look at it.
I know. And the fact that his parents like don't even know and are eating the kid that got him killed. How does he live with himself, taking their aid, knowing he killed their son?
Because he is who he is. He doesn't give a shit. He believes he's entitled to that crap. So.
He does.
Okay. Also, like the inner monologue going on just in and amongst this dialogue is also something that was missing. Like, I feel like the whole end scene, like the whole ending with him and Lucy Gray, would have been so much better if you could like see what he was thinking. But like, Lucy Gray, he said in his normal voice, Lucy Gray, it's not too late to work something out. Of course it was, but he owed her nothing. Certainly not the truth.
That's crazy. Yeah, he kept saying like, "Oh, we can talk." Like, no, bitch, you were gonna shoot her as soon as she spotted, came out of the trees. He had made up his mind.
He was beginning to sympathize with Billy Tope.
Did he really say that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
oh my god.
Because he's crazy. Like, Lucy Gray had tried to kill him. There was no coincidence. The trailing scarf, the poised snake, Maud Ivory had said she always knew where to find them. This was a booby trap, and he'd walked straight into it. Poor lamb indeed. He was beginning to sympathize with Billy Tope.
Whoa.
He didn't know how long he might have, but by all things know, she was going to pay for this. Should he tie off the arm with a tourniquet, suck out the venom, blah, blah, blah. If he'd felt better, he'd have laughed at the irony of how quickly the relationship had deteriorated into their own private Hunger Games.
It's his actions that led them to be in their own private Hunger Games. So.
Also, I love this part too. The lake water had reduced his mother's rose-scented powder to a nasty paste, and he threw the whole thing in the trash. The photos stuck together and shredded when he tried to separate them, so they went the way of the powder. Only the compass had survived the outing. And I was like, of course, the only thing to survive is his father's, the corrupt one.
Yes.
And then I was like, this just kind of shows that like any shred of humanity or like connection to his humanity just left. Like any shred he had. Because it's like, that was his everything. His mother's like rose powder, like whatever. And for him to like so easy just throw that away just because it was like a paste now. Like Snow at the beginning of the book wouldn't have done that. Yes, he was still evil in his own way, but like he wasn't to the same extent. And I feel like that just so perfectly showed like the kind of headspace that he was now in at that point.
That's such a good...
And then also in addition, I thought it was really interesting throughout the whole thing that he uses his mom's like the scent of the rose as like comfort. And even like Lucy Gray, I believe like she's like, oh, this smells really nice. It's really comforting me. And then flip that with how Katniss feels about that smell in the rest of the series. And it's like even him turning something that was like love, like his mother's love to him, into something that's like literally Katniss, I think, like has PTSD from the smell of roses even. So it's like, wow.
It's like the smell of roses tinged with blood. So it's like it's his mom's thing, but the blood is the choices that he did with his father. So
this whole like almost like full like the full last page, so many wild things. Okay, like she could fly around District 12 all she liked, but she and her Mockingjays could never harm him again. And I'm like,
it's just too late.
Yeah, there's nothing about Tigress like at all in this. Nothing about nothing.
That's the only thing I feel like she made that shit up later. I don't know. I can't prove it,
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, her character was always so mysterious, but I don't think any of us thought anything of it because we had other people.
Yeah, the only thing that we kind of know about her, besides like her appearance and her shop, is that she knows Plutarch, and that's it.
Which I guess would make sense, but how old is Plutarch? That's the thing.
I was just talking about this with my friend because we were trying to figure out like the ages for Sunrise for like Plutarch, and I was like, we don't know the ages of any Hunger Games character that isn't a teenager. Like, we don't.
Like, but the only Heavensbee that's mentioned is Hilaria's Heavensbee, and that makes me think that that's the Heavensbee that was like as old as Snow, and maybe Plutarch was like a little bit younger than him, so he maybe isn't in school yet. I still think they're kind of close in age, but maybe 10, 15 year difference or something. I don't know.
Yeah, let me actually, I'm going to look up the Heavensbee that's in Ballad because I want to see what's up.
There was so little about him, which I found interesting because what a name to just throw in there and not do anything with it.
But to continue on the last page here, he was like, he didn't like love, the way it had made him feel stupid and vulnerable. If he ever married, he'd choose someone incapable of swaying his heart, someone he hated even, so they could never manipulate him the way Lucy Gray had, never made him feel jealous or weak. Olivia Cardew would be perfect. And I'm like, they get married?
That's who I think he married. I feel like he added that.
Like, I feel like it'd be weird just to, like, drop that and not have that be what happened.
Yeah.
He'd continue the games, of course, when he ruled Panem. People would call him a tyrant, iron-fisted and cruel. But at least he would ensure survival for survival's sake, giving them a chance to evolve. What else could humanity hope for? Really, it should thank him.
So crazy.
At least he's self-aware that he knows that they're going to call him a tyrant.
Again, I know we've said this so many times throughout the live stream. How can you read that page and be like,
Snow. Choreo.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
He's such a tyrant.
It's so easy to sympathize with this man. Oh my God. He was not evil.
Yeah, if I see anyone who like, I've been seeing so much with Sunrise on the Reaping where people are like, Suzanne saw your guys' Snow edits and reminding you. And I'm like, were you guys not reminded throughout the book?
Like, at what point did you forget? Like, I didn't forget. We not been forgotten. Like, what's going on here? Crazy.
Yeah, I don't see of how they're related. Like, obviously they're related to each other, but there's nothing of like family tree.
Yeah.
Which is annoying. Wait, this actor looks so familiar. Never mind, he's just a white dude.
They all look the same.
This book was crazy. I think this is the longest discussion we've had where like we've been on topic for like I would say most of the time.
That's pretty good. Especially because we were unprepared.
Yeah, there was just so much to like say.
Oh my God, but for Sunrise, it's gonna be long.
Oh yeah.
Longer. We're gonna have so much more to say.
I'm gonna reread it.
Have things...
I might too, because Lorena was saying something, and I'm like, I have no idea what you're saying.
We read it so fast, and there was so much to unpack. I feel like rereading it would be useful.
I
and like maybe annotating.
Yeah, like I already annotated my copy, so like I can at least like be like Brittany in this live stream and be like, here's what I said on page whatever. Yeah. I think it'd be interesting to listen to the audiobook.
That's what Lorena's doing.
Yeah, because I think the guy, from what I've heard, the bits and pieces of that audiobook,
it sounded good.
Damn. I just need to get a copy of it.
Yeah, let me check how long my library has it to wait. I'm sure it's like a several month wait. It's usually pretty bad.
I know, that's how I'm feeling too. No, I don't need Ballad.
Several months.
Wait, I want to see. It's a 23-week wait.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And there's 14 copies in use.
They should have got a billion.
There's 57 copies, and it's several months long.
Shit.
Oh, wow. She really did something.
Yeah, I forget what it was, but someone recently came out and said that, like, something million copies were sold of Sunrise in, like, a few days or something.
Oh my god, my library has 90 copies.
Holy fuck.
Yeah, 1,210 people are waiting in total. So that's literally insane.
Okay.
Yeah.
Physical read it is.
Yeah.
Damn.
One day we'll get to do the audiobook.
One day.
Do it like maybe beginning of next year before like the hype of the movies too was strong, but like the hype from the book has died down a bit. Maybe that'll be a sweet spot.
It's very readable, like unlike the ballad where it was like slower paced. This one was non-stop, so I feel like rereading it, I mean, it's gonna take 2 seconds, to be honest. It's crazy. What was the
I'm trying to figure out, because I can go on to Hoopla and see if the audiobook, like, I can just get it.
I just checked it too, and mine didn't have it.
No. Okay, let's see. What's this book called? Sunrise.
Okay.
I can borrow it.
Oh, okay. So maybe you'll be rereading too.
Okay.
So funny.
You can stream it in your browser or download it offline. Thanks, dude.
Hey Peyton, do you want to give us some book ASMR there with your microphone?
How does it sound today? Like I can't hear it. So does it sound good?
I think so.
You think so? That's not good.
No, I think so. It doesn't sound bad.
I'm scared.
I need some like page flipping though.
Okay. Let me try.
Like play with the tab.
I don't know if that's working. Y'all are just staring at me. This is giving me no response.
It sounds fine.
Brittany, what's your thoughts? I
lost Wi-Fi literally right before you started doing the ASMR.
Okay, because I was like, Brittany, this like stare does not make me feel good.
No, I was like, because you guys froze, and then all of a sudden, like, all the things had like the loading thing of death, and then I looked down, I'm like, I have no Wi-Fi. It was like literally right, like my computer did not want me to get that ASMR.
Okay, let me try.
Yeah, give it to me again.
I don't know.
Go a bit slower. Oh yeah, the slow is good. Can you like crinkle the tabs? Oh yeah.
Is it good?
That's some good stuff.
I'll have to rewatch it.
Oh yeah.
Hello. I don't know.
If you're gonna do that, you have to whisper. You can't actually speak into it.
Hello.
That was good.
Not you flipping the pages too. It's the ASMR time.
Oh my god, all your cutie tabs.
I know. I did a TikTok and someone said, all your tabs scare me. And I said, they should.
They should.
Are they color coded or did you just do it?
Yeah, I have color coded for allusions/references, quotes, lore drop, favorite parts, and themes.
Whoa.
You're
smart.
I'm so smart. Yeah.
I'm over here doing like, here's a powerful line. Here's a funny line.
Hey, no, it's okay. When you look at my actual notes, I'm just like, I love. I might reread some parts of it because there's some parts where I'm like, is it this character? And then like 2 paragraphs later, it's like, oh yeah, it is this character. Like Katniss is. Never mind. Someone's relative appears. And I was like, is it this character? And then they said something, and I was like, yes, it is.
Oh my god.
I feel like we should end this before we spoil more things.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
When should we have our next one? Because like we were late for this one. So, but if we all want to reread it potentially, we gotta
probably closer to the end of the month, I'd say.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Give us a reread.
Yeah.
And we'll really, because like I said to Brittany a couple days ago, I have not watched anyone's reviews. Like I really have stayed pure to what I felt. Because I don't know, like I was so scared to watch anybody's reviews. But,
I don't think anyone's disliked the book from what I've seen.
That's so crazy.
I haven't, well, besides like, oh, it's too sad. But like all the videos.
Yeah, I
watch all
haven't
the
seen that.
Twitter.
Yeah.
Although, who was I watching? I saw somebody who like wasn't obsessed with it. I think I was watching a YouTube video where they weren't obsessed. They were like a little disappointed, but like they still enjoyed it.
What were they disappointed by?
I can't remember.
I'm so curious. But at the same time, I'm like cleansing myself. Like last time I watched everybody's thoughts, and I feel like it put me on a mental spiral. So
you still gotta watch mine because clearly you know.
I do want to watch yours because I mean I already know your thoughts. So and we pretty much agree.
Yeah, I need to watch your guys. I need to get back into watching y'all.
Yeah, give me some views.
Come on.
I love comments.
Give us the views.
Okay, I will.
I miss the comment spams.
I do love comments too.
Did you? I guess you didn't watch my last video then.
Was
Which one?
The book
I think I watched it.
The 10th. Oh, you did, Peyton. The 10th anniversary one.
Oh, that one is in my like watch later because I was like, ooh, this is interesting.
Yeah, I loved that video idea, and I really kicking myself because I've never once ever remembered my anniversary on my channel.
That's the best.
And I've been here for 11 years, I think. And I always miss it. And I feel like year 10 is pretty important. Like I could have remembered that one and done a cute idea like that. I loved it. And, you know, it's never going to happen. If I didn't do it ever, it's not happening. So.
You could do 15 years.
That's crazy to
years.
say that. 15?
Yeah.
But like that's literally just a few years away. So it's, oh my god, and then we're gonna get to 20 years? What's going on?
I mean, if we still upload.
I feel like I definitely will though, you know.
I'll be 35.
We'll be
okay, guys, I gotta go. I gotta go now. Yeah.
No, that's so real, man.
It's like a midlife crisis.
Oh, I don't want to be. Okay.
We're gonna have our book published by then. How about that? And then
please have multiple books published by then.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I believe in us.
You guys can do it.
Okay.
And you're gonna have an award-winning film. I feel it.
You feel it in your bones.
I do. We're gonna be super successful, and maybe not Suzanne level, but Suzanne's a different breed.
Hey, Suzanne did win children's Emmys when she wrote on Clifford. So,
oh really?
That's
yeah.
So
I did a project.
more.
I did a project on Suzanne Collins in like 6th grade.
Whoa!
So I know her lore.
Whoa! I love that. You should present us the project.
Oh my god! If I could find it, yeah. I wish.
Please find it. I need this.
I think it was just like a write-up or something, but I'll find it. I'm gonna
make us a PowerPoint presentation while you're at
it. Yes, I will.
That'll be our final episode of the book club.
For the Hunger Games section, because remember, we're also gonna read Emily Henry.
That's gonna be so fun. The only author project I ever did, I think, was Stephen King. I did something in high school, and then my senior project of high school, I wrote a novella, and then I read writing craft books, and then I interviewed Alexa Dunn, random. Yeah, I interviewed her, and she gave me a lot of information, because my big essay for the project was traditional publishing versus self-publishing, and she gave me all the things. So yeah, she's cool. She's cool. I can't believe I was just like a teenager, and I was like, can you help me with my senior project?
And that's what I'm saying is how we get Suzanne Collins to
I know.
talk to us.
Oh my god, that'd be so cool. But she told me I was the first YouTuber that ever talked about her book.
Right.
So I'm like,
get you arcs and stuff, right?
Yeah, and like if I keep asking, like she would do it for me. So I guess.
Have you read her more like thriller books?
I've read the Ivies, and I haven't read the other whatever books, but I really want to, because I enjoy those books, those type of books. So I will be getting to that. Oh, and I did this is not a writer, Michael Jordan. I did a whole thing about him.
Oh, I was like, huh?
I just vividly remember making a poster board with like basketballs on it, and like I loved Space Jam. This is why this.
You did it because
seriously, I love Space
you were
Jam.
dropping.
So I just thought he was the coolest guy ever, and you know he played for UNC at one point, I'm pretty sure. So it was, you know, in the North Carolina lore. So that's what I did.
This is crazy. Okay. Well,
my mouse died. Come on, mouse. That's how you know we've been talking a while. My mouse stopped working.
I think it's a sign.
Okay. We will wrap this up. Join us again later this month, and we will finally discuss Sunrise on the Reaping. Clearly,
yes,
we have things to say, and we're excited about it and probably rereading it. So be sure to join us and look out for that. Thanks for being here, and we will see y'all later. Bye.